During the filming of the new season of Outlander in Prague, the tight schedule led everyone to believe that Sam and Caitriona only met on set. But the senior crew members began to notice some strange details. That night, after the whole crew finished filming at 1 a.m., everyone was taken by private cars back to the hotel. But two actors did not get off at the main lobby. Sam made an excuse to take a walk to stretch, while Caitriona told her assistant that she needed to call her family and wanted to walk alone to get a better signal. No one questioned it, until a young lighting staff member, who happened to be going to the back of the hotel to smoke, saw two silhouettes turn into a small, unlit street. It was the old town with few tourists, with stone steps leading down to a wine cellar called La Cova Veche, a secret bar known only to locals. No paparazzi, no fans, no reporters. At about 1:45, the door of the shop was caught on the street security camera, and a couple of people walked in. Sam was wearing a hat, Caitriona was wearing a black dress, her hair was tied loosely, half her face was covered. They did not walk apart, but his hand was placed lightly on her back, as if in an unconscious gesture that was all too familiar. Inside, the shop owner, a woman in her 40s, recognized them immediately. She had seen the movie poster at a nearby theater, but instead of asking for a photo or talking, she just pulled the curtain of the end table. 3 small candles, a bottle of local red wine, and 2 rustic crystal glasses were brought out. The waiter recounted, in secret, that they did not talk like colleagues. Sometimes Sam laughed because Caitriona had faked a Scottish accent to tease her, and sometimes they both looked at each other in silence for longer than acting partners. The most curious moment was when Caitriona took a folded piece of paper from her pocket, handed it to Sam, and he kept it in his hand until they left. No one knew what was inside, a place name, a reminder, or a decision? At exactly 3:10, they left the cafe through the back tunnel door, not turning back the way they came. Sam handed her his coat as the cold wind blew over the stone bridge. They were not in a hurry, not avoiding anyone, but walked as if accustomed to hiding from the world's gaze. The next morning, Caitriona appeared on the set with a large gray scarf, Sam with his familiar cup of coffee. No trace, no strange look in front of everyone. The cameras were rolling, they played their roles as if the night before was just a quiet dream in the chaos of the filming schedule. There was only one small detail. When the director changed the angle, Sam leaned against the wall, took a folded piece of paper from his pocket, the same kind from last night, read it quickly and put it back. And a very slight smile, not part of any scene. 3 days after the night in the Prague cellar, everything was calm on the surface. On the set, Caitriona focused on reading her lines, Sam adjusted her props before the scene. No one seemed to notice. But that silence lasted exactly 3 days. On Wednesday night, at 2 a.m. London time, a Hollywood gossip blog called The Velvet Eye posted a new article, no title, just a vague quote and 2 blurry, seemingly innocuous photos. The blog is famous for never citing its source, no one knows who is behind it, but it has twice caused emergency meetings at the studio. And this time, the article opened with the sentence, "When 2 people act too well in a movie, it might not be acting anymore." Below is a security camera shot of a cobblestone street in Prague. The angle is very dark, but sharp-eyed viewers can make out the silhouettes of 2 people with heights, stances, and coats that are suspiciously similar to Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe. The second shot is taken from a distance behind the frosted glass of a basement bar, showing only candlelight and the outline of a man facing the person opposite. No name, no confirmation, no caption. But the only caption is a strange line of characters. HCB, not on screen this time. The post has less than 120 words, but within 2 hours, more than 3,000 shares on Twitter and Tumblr began to appear. Fans were divided into 2 camps. Those who sneered, those who analyzed every pixel. Some examined the shape of the coat, others compared the shoes to a fan photo taken at the airport. One account even zoomed in on the hand touching the back, comparing it to the shape of Sam's hand in a behind-the-scenes scene a season earlier. By the next morning, the crew began to hear vaguely. The production assistant received a text message with a blog link from a friend who worked at a PR firm. Check this out before it blows up. Less than 10 hours after the article appeared, a reporter from a British entertainment magazine sent an email to the film's media representative with the subject line, "Comment on rumored offset meeting in Prague?" The interesting thing was that the email was accompanied by a photo no one had ever seen before. Sam and Caitriona standing outside the tunnel behind the bar, around 3 a.m., a little clearer than the blog photo. It was unclear who took the photo. It was unclear from what angle. It was unclear why that person had the photo and the other blog didn't. At this point, the studio was forced to pay attention. Sam's manager called him directly while he was in the makeup trailer. The first sentence was not a greeting. "Where were you on the evening of the 12th?" At the same time, Caitriona received a message from her personal assistant. "The Herald wants a quick interview about the Prague rumors. Avoid answering anything." On set that day, the atmosphere was no longer normal. During a break, two members of the makeup crew sat whispering by the hair dryer, their eyes glued to their phones. A young Czech cameraman asked half jokingly, half seriously, "Are you guys acting so real, or is it real that it's easy to act?" Caitriona heard, but just smiled faintly and left. Sam kept his face cold, but when he passed the trailer, his eyes quickly glanced toward a dark corner where the two had exchanged a piece of paper that night. The problem was, the article on the Velvet Eye was not released by a fan, but originated from an anonymous email sent to the blog's inbox, according to a tacit confirmation from a former contributor to the site. The email simply read, "If you want proof, check the Old Town CCTV. But remember, it's not a movie scene." And attached 3 blurry photos, of which the blog only published 2. The sender used a fake address, no signature, no trace. 2 days later, a Twitter account named @BehindTheSlate reshared the blog with the caption, "There's no fire without smoke. Prague isn't Paris, but the situation is no different." Fans started hashtagging #PragueNight, #offscreen chemistry, #NotJustActing. Within 24 hours, more than 50 posts appeared on Reddit, most of them analyzing photos, speculating on locations, or searching for street cameras. Sam and Caitriona filmed their scenes together as usual, even having to perform a long kiss scene in an old church. The director praised the screen-burning chemistry, but the boom mic guy swore he heard someone on set whisper, "We probably don't need to act this part anymore." Surprisingly, it was an entertainment editor from Variety who quietly contacted the production's PR. They didn't publish the story, but asked directly, "Is it true? Because we heard that blog post is just the tip of the iceberg." No one knew what the bottom was, but the only one who seemed to remain absolutely calm was Sam. In the makeup room, he looked at his phone, twisted the prop ring in his hand, and put it back in the box. No explanation. Caitriona was different. At night, she locked the hotel room door and turned off all the lights, sitting by the window looking down at the street. The phone screen lit up constantly. Her best friend asked, her husband asked, her stylist asked. She didn't answer anyone. The rumor hadn't officially exploded, but it was so smoldering that everyone felt it only needed a small spark to ignite. And that bait was closer than they thought. Because the original anonymous email wasn't just sent to the blog. It was also forwarded to a reporter for The Guardian, who famously exposed an affair between two A-list celebrities the year before. And this time, in the version of the email sent to the journalist, there was a final sentence that didn't appear elsewhere. "If you think it's fiction, just wait for the third photo."